But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
And welcome to World Blockchain Roundtable Restaurant Edition. I am John, T Swift or Die, your host for today. Joining me, we've got Dave, aka Distant. I don't know
something like that.
Yeah. Or would you rather people call you Distant in like
that? You know, it's one of those things where I used to have a name on the internet that I didn't associate with my real name, and then I doxed myself, and they merged and collided. So whatever you want to call me, I'm Dave, and I'm Distant. Depends on where you know me from.
Distant Dave.
Great. We need to look up the
or the look in your eyes can tell us, right?
It's mostly like IRC and shit. Yeah.
We've got Joe from Dragon Chain joining us. Say hi. Great. And then we've got Greg from Rivet and Cyberpunk. You can or Cypherpunk.
No. PH, right?
There it is. And Satoshi Shan joining us today. How are you guys doing today?
Just
Good.
PH, my friend.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Is today St. Patrick's Day? It's tomorrow. Right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
I was like, I got to make sure I'm wearing something green.
Someone needs to invent a pinching adapter so the live streams can do that, right?
Everybody just has like a shot collar on that does that to you.
Right.
Awesome.
/pinch at John.
Yes.
Right?
I don't like this idea anymore. So today there's some stuff going on in current events, and I wanted us to start off talking about that. Let's bring up our first tweet that we're going to discuss. Or no, that's not what I'm supposed to do. I got to give out a lot from last week.
Yeah, there we go. Let's look and see what happened last week.
There we go.
You hosted last week, and it was really good, dude. It was. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it, and kudos. Thanks for doing a great job with that. The game shows were fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Had some good comments and stuff too. Got some good feedback. I'm glad people liked it. So quick update from last week. Each host from last week is receiving 66 lot. Each topic contributor from last week is going to receive 20 lot. Last week's theme was what would your blockchain game show look like? That nominated by me. And I'm going to get 20 lot for that. So you guys can deal with that. These ownership tokens come with perpetual passive income, free edits, and governance votes. Go vote on the themes for April that are out there right now and submit your votes by the 20th. World Blockchain Roundtable. Our game show 2.0 is on there, so I'm going to plug that one. If you want to see a 2.0 version of what we did last week, go vote for that. We got some great stuff on there. What is there anything that you guys are excited about, or is that like you don't want to sway the votes?
No, I'll totally sway votes if people want to vote my way.
Yeah, Greg, what do you?
Greg will take bribes. Remember?
Right. I'll actually change my vote to anybody else's thing for a price of TBD matter, which I will publicly announce the bribe, but I won't say who bribed me.
I like that.
It's amazing how much you learn about people whenever you just play games with them.
Right? Oh, exactly. But the rule is anyway. There's one a little further down. Where is it? Wait, maybe it was further up. Go back.
I think you voted for the whales one, right?
Did I vote for the whales?
You can open it and look.
Whales,
it's transparent.
I think that might be it.
Blockchain dystopia.
Nope.
I like that.
Nope.
That'd be a fun one, I think.
Oh yeah, stablecoin. Yeah,
All stable coins.
Hell yeah, man! This one is fascinating because right now
I like that one too. Yeah, obviously.
Like
Maybe-
how many people know what the difference between USDC and DAI is? That's an interesting question. And
Well, that's why I think it's an interesting topic. Is because when people, even regulators, talk about stable coins, they act like they're all the freaking same. You know what I mean? So, or that they are
algorithmic versus
and they hate
versus
on the
what.
safest ones that nobody wants to talk about, right? Like there's some really good ones, but the ones that suck are falling.
I love it.
All right,
Dave,
so there's a little
Dave, it looks like you'd vote for that one as well.
yeah, because I don't like stable coins.
There you go.
So I'd like to talk
Yeah,
about why I don't like
I
them.
don't know that all. I'm. It's almost like the opposite of love is not hate, but indifference, and I'm kind of indifferent about stable coins. I don't know if I even care about them enough to be on that. But
So, Joe,
One point to make though: stable coins aren't stable. They're pegged to a deflationary asset that's always down. It just looks stable because we give it a nominal value of 1 per 1.
yeah, it seems like the only utility that I understand for stable coins is for traders to pop in and out of the supposedly volatile crypto.
So I don't have any unless I have to use it to buy something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You always swap into it if you want to make sure to capitalize a loss or a gain. Right.
So,
Like
Joe,
it's a tax thing.
What would you vote for on this?
The top of the game show one. I was like,
That's right.
I think I proposed it.
Yeah,
right?
you proposed the game show one.
Yeah,
I was like,
it.
hell yeah.
In fairness, I'd have voted for that one if it didn't already have enough votes to be.
Yeah,
honest.
it's like Greg and I think naturally always kind of, because Greg is the whale here. He's the king of the round table. I think he's, what's your cut? What percentage do you have?
I'm winning right now, I think.
Oh, we can look right now. So Joe has, what did it say? I've got 9.5. Joe's got 13 and a third. Greg's got 14%.
I'm the
Behold
same
the power
way.
of showing
Sometimes I
up
wait.
as often as possible.
Yes. Sometimes I wait to see where Greg votes. So I just make sure, okay, that one made it. Now I just need to make sure I vote for this one. All right. So
See, just make sure that like you don't accidentally not like your thing doesn't get through though. Also, I'm competitive and I like to win by huge margins. So vote for me. And last one before we move on to current events, which I know is what everybody wants to talk about. Satoshi Sean, what would you vote for on here? What are you excited by?
I was on the phone, so I didn't hear everything. I vote with Greg too.
Smart. You know, at least if you vote for Greg,
Stablecoins definitely. Yeah. I think that's because, like you mentioned, they're not all the same, but also just the fact that they are kind of the pure bastardization of what Satoshi. What you know what I mean? It's like
true.
It's a total bastardization of what he started. So
right.
But then again, it's also when you argue, you have the argument that it's kind of necessary for, commerce, especially with like small businesses and stuff.
They say that.
I think it'll be a good discussion, good questions.
I love the juxtaposition of vote for the game show because this is fun and entertaining and silly, and then also vote for stablecoin because we want to shit on it.
More or less. There's a fine line between humor and necessary public service. It would be fun to squeeze whoopee cushions at the funeral of stablecoins, and that would be all. But
yeah,
we got to talk to people about stuff.
Here's what I would like to see, at least if the stablecoin people had it in them to be real crypto people, yet still somehow have stable coins. It's like, why would they in the very least not create a gold or silver stable coin and then have somebody important, heading it up that was, as a gold bug. It's like, but for crypto, at least this is tied to the price of gold. I don't know. It seems like you could do something cool there, but anyway.
I think because the biggest proponents of it are not gold bugs.
I know. That's what's so funny about it,
Well, you'll have to tune in next month to hear us talk about stable coins and game shows and whatever else, and whales and whatever else happens next month on the World Blockchain Roundtable. But now we're going to move on to current events. And there's been some fun stuff happening. I guess fun stuff happening in current events. If you want to go ahead and bring up the first tweet that we want to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't see this till this morning. Both of these, from Jake and from John, they're related but different. And it's interesting. So, like, people on the screen right now, all of us are fully aware that like there's no logic in the way that the U.S. regulators are conducting themselves in the face of a new technology emerging. Like,
No.
I don't know if this has ever happened before where something new that's never existed before gets invented, and then like, I don't know, there's just this freak out and this mad rush to stomp it out, like some sort of what's the term? Like the guy that didn't want
the
the
moral
press,
panic, right? Like the
Luddites
damn
or
kids and
something,
their
you know?
freaking hoops with sticks. You look down at those things all day, rolling down the street. They're gonna fry their brains.
So let's rewind for a second. Let's rewind for a second.
And it's a 1910s example.
For people that aren't 100% sure what's going on, does anybody want to summarize or kind of explain kind of what happened? Greg, you want to do that?
I can take a crack, man. Because I've actually been spending the last week or so researching an article that I intend to publish about this eventually once I can figure out the right questions to ask GPT chat. But it actually doesn't have information past 2022, so I had to do a lot of original research. It's just going to do the lifting. The situation is such, right? We saw 3 banks collapse. All 3 of them, coincidentally, happen to be the 3 largest, and in some cases for people who bank out of New York, the only banks that they could go to for their crypto-based company. Now, you might think that's not too big of a deal for someone like Rivet, right? Where we provide a service that's tangential to blockchain. Well, we accept crypto, and we serve crypto customers. That is a really big concern for people who want to build a business in the United States that's legit and on the level, that pays its taxes and hires people and does stuff that the way the law says you're supposed to do it, right? You push people out of these banks that are involved with it, and it's game over, right? The crypto industry leaves our shores. It goes to anywhere more friendly, and that can include Hong Kong if they get their way at this point, because they've loosened recently. Well, the interesting thing to me here is ever since those 3 banks came out, we've heard inklings of folks saying, hey, we've got information that this was done intentionally, that these banks were targeted, and that they didn't really mean to push them into receivership, but they just sort of found the line where banks fall over these days because they were already really close to it and they're all dancing on the lip of the volcano. So the allegation is that the pressure on those banks to distance themselves from crypto companies and the commensurate either loss of deposits from canceling customers or shit like that pushed them to the point where they had to sell assets at a loss in order to make the necessary cash to pay depositors when they withdrew, and it caused a run. So it's sort of like an intertwined story with the fragility in the banking system and the weaponization of the banking system to target an industry that the entire banking establishment all the way up to the Fed stands a lot to lose if they no longer have the power, right, to be in the positions they're in, which is exactly why we want crypto. It gets rid of the possibility of corruption.
How many on the show, and maybe even in watching, how many people have had bank accounts closed from any of the major banks, any of the So
well, working with projects, it's incredibly difficult. If you're starting a project or building something, it's incredibly difficult to get a bank account, whether you're building an exchange or whatever, because for the past since 2016, since I've been in that area, they're just at first they didn't understand, they didn't know, but then right away it's like, oh no, we don't want your child porn and your drug money.
No, it was.
They draw up
Here's the thing, though, Sean. They never said that, and I, whether or not they believe that, and that's an assumption, I take it. But whenever I've had a bank account closed because I, moved money there from Coinbase or Gemini or whatever it was in the past, within months, you get flagged, you get told, we don't want to do business with you anymore.
Right.
And they don't tell you why. You could ask them until you're blue in the face. They're not going to tell you why because they don't want to get sued.
Joe, did yours get timed with a deposit right away? Like mine I've had it happen to me twice since I've been in crypto. And they were both timed right after I made a major deposit.
Well, I'll tell you the breadth of it is kind of crazy because I've had multiple personal accounts shut down, and that's before Dragon Chain even, because I was buying crypto. And at the time, I was never selling crypto. I was only buying it, right? So they knew that I was connected to whatever that account was and buying every week.
In fairness, I also bought illegal contact lenses out of Canada. But
okay, what that meant. All right. So second, we've literally had $1 million bank accounts closed for the company without any warning. They, the one time, I won't tell you which bank, one of the top 3, told us they weren't going to do any business with us anymore. Couldn't tell us anything. And we had 1 week to get our money out of there. We had payroll coming up. So we had to come in and make counter checks, whatever you call them, money orders for all of the employees. I joked, hey, I'm going to go down there and we're going to film me taking out our millions of dollars in cash and walking it down to the other bank. And we were told like they don't have that cash there. You can't even do that, even if it's a joke. And so we had to do a bunch of crazy shit just. Then to get another account open, we ended up opening, I think, 3 because we were worried that they were going to shut down immediately too. So we ended up, having backups and no explanation. It was obvious what it was.
You can get arrested for that in some states.
And then the other side was we had insurance. We could not get business insurance for months and months. Because they were all, nope, and they never tell us why, never tell us what the risk factors were or anything else. We had one group, in fact, where they had whatever you call the insurance, the freaking people on the line and the cubes, right? Some Zoomer who fucking worked for this insurance company, a big fucking insurance company, I kid you not, literally shared I don't want to say, I guess it wasn't whatever you would call internal information, company information.
Oh, shit.
Telegram in a crypto group. We're not going to give Dragon Chain their insurance. No shit.
Do you have a screenshot of that, man?
We have it all.
Can I have it for my article?
Sure. So that shit happens.
That's the sort of thing that Jake is asking for too. Greg, your experiences, right. Sean, Joe. This is
then you go further. Then you go further. I've been shut down by Gemini, by Coinbase, by Bittrex. I don't have any fucking crypto accounts anymore either. Why is that? That is all of you fucking maximalists who wanted integration with the traditional banking sector. They don't want me in there either. They're like, we're going to shut down Joe. And
their customer targets are businesses that have never made a cryptocurrency before, so that they can either instruct you how you intend to build it. Here's the real rub of this. One thing that you will not see anywhere in any media outlets, any press releases, any fucking leaks, unless some asshole on Telegram makes a stupid mistake and gives the opposition ammunition, which he did. Thank you for that, buddy, if you're still watching. Because what they don't want is crypto to galvanize and unify. The last thing on earth they want is us to start, instead of talking about shit coins and bitcoins and whichever project we want to fucking stand. They don't want us talking about the real shit coin in the fucking room, which is the US dollar.
That's true.
Well said, Greg.
It's very true.
You're right though, because I think that they're betting the undefined are betting that a decentralized network it can be disrupted easier. It can't unify in the way that a centralized one can. Maybe that's part of the strategy.
And the funny thing is, if crypto survives, and we know it'll survive, right? But if crypto survives, the craziest thing about it is it will have survived against not just nation state level, whatever. It's the fact that they literally have unlimited funds to pay off any crypto founders they want, who are shaky, Any freaking project participants that they want who are shaky, anybody who's in Telegram, the shills are and the amount of threat that they see from crypto is so huge. They're gonna, you don't think they've spent billions on it already?
Oh, my research has revealed they've been talking about it as early as 2017, and the strategy is called ring fencing that they're going to use against crypto. This is long planned. There is a they, and the they is a whole of government effort by people who don't see decentralization as a win for the administrative state, right? Like, if there are two options, a human being and a team of human beings that you can order around to paint a picture of of where the risks are in a system, or a data system that can publish real-time reports to everybody and you can all look at it and see what's going on and check the numbers. Some politicians and some administrators in that part of the government, they like that idea because they see it as the future. Fewer costs, safer system, big win for everybody. People in power right now, though, their job is to be the people who manually check that shit and who run the systems that enforce it, right? Those guys are going to lose their fucking power if this.
And to that point, one of the big things that always, what am I trying to say? The thing I like the most about this tech is that it simply makes it difficult to cheat and lie. It just makes it more difficult to cheat and lie. And so from that angle, I have to wonder, like, okay, is that the reason? Because they've been cheating and lying for so long that now they're afraid of, like, oh man, we can't keep the facade up if there's if there's friction applied to that.
But I think there's that, and there's also the fact that like, do you really need to have a button that says my job and have it get hit when you have automation that can do that when it gets the signal from the last button that they would otherwise set up? Like, when you automate governments, they typically don't reduce the bureaucracy. They just have you design a special button for
that's a good point that I hadn't thought of, because like Vitalik has this thing that he has talked about where in the past automation and technology it's automated away the fringe, like menial jobs and tasks, like the blue collar work, and those people didn't have direct access to create regulation or enforce it to stop that technology from taking off. Now that it's automating away white collar and middleman jobs and things like that, I guess these are the people that do have access to regulate away this sort of competition or this sort of automation. I haven't thought of it in that light, but that's a good point.
Well, I'm going to share my screen real fast if you guys will humor me so I can show you what I think a really good analogy is to this whole situation. They want us to build this, but on blockchain. And we realize that all we need to do is have a machine that catches the mouse, right? And that thing looks a lot less freaking looted. Oops, I'm just causing a. Yeah, there we go. Stop sharing. Okay.
Yeah, you can cut out all the bullshit and just do it directly.
Right.
Yeah. Satoshi, do you have any thoughts on this? What are you thinking?
No, yeah, agree.
Great. Let's take a look at the next tweet, I guess. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, that one was from John Deaton.
Oh, can I make one more point on the last one before we move on?
Sure.
The reason that it's been quiet, I think, and the reason that they need to keep the fact that they're pursuing this relatively secret is because if you look on Twitter right now, too, you'll see crypto people who normally shill for the bag actually unifying. There's a real galvanizing effect to seeing news leak out about them actually colluding to stop crypto.
Well, I think people that really believe in crypto know we've gotten to the phase, and I've been talking about this for years, and I was the only one. Back the last run, especially, everybody was just, yay, crypto bros, Lambos, going to the moon. And I just kept, and people would even bring up the Gandhi quote, which that used to be like my pinned tweet for years. But eventually they fight you. I was saying that through all of the, all the good times. Like, guys, eventually they fight you. We have to be ready for the fight. There's going to be a fight. And I think everybody now sees, we're entering into that fight.
Yeah.
People didn't think it was going to be what it is, a real fight against them, nation states, evil entities, ancient, families that have been running stuff from behind the scenes for, generations that they've taken notice. Oh my goodness, this is threatening us.
Yeah.
And, Dave, you talked about the main thing is it makes it just harder to lie and cheat. And they've had this constant modus operandi where they can change whatever the narrative is or change the information and control it. They can't do that with blockchain. Like with the January 6th tapes that came out. It's obvious that the shaman guy shouldn't be in jail. I mean, they let the police are there showing, walking him around, and then he prayed for them on camera.
Mhm.
There was no violence. He was charged with a violent crime. There's no definitely no violence. And when the committee that said, "Oh, this is such a terrible thing," they had access to. When they're asked, "What's going on with this?" They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that these sensitive government tapes were allowed out to people." That's
Right.
not the question. That's not the But they're like, "Oh, look at this. This is secret documents shouldn't have been let out." Blah blah blah.
And additionally, that's something that like I've talked to one of my neighbors about it pretty extensively, where there's just this bastardization of the conversation in an attempt to sort of change the goalposts. So
Exactly.
So like twisting that into what you just said, twisting that into, these people are saying that January 6th was just a peaceful protest and there was no violence. Like, no, that's not what people are saying. What people are saying is like, you're saying that everybody who happened to be there was a violent, angry mob.
Yeah.
And
Right.
all these other people are saying is like, hey, actually some people got caught up in that weren't really there for that.
Or that
Right.
it was a violent.
Which is pretty simple to say.
Some of them,
insurrection.
there were
And there's
there
some
was
hints that the
there were
FBI was
some-
planted in there, similar to the Whitman
There
kidnapping plot.
was some, and I think we all have to admit this. There was some reasonable percentage of those people that were there that were not feds.
Duh. Of course,
And
some of them weren't
the
feds.
ones
A
that
lot of
were
them
feds
people
were
we see.
obviously
And there was some
doing
vandalism.
things.
There was vandalism.
I
But
love
how
the way
much of
Joe
that was done by
phrased that.
feds? How much of that was
Right.
done by law enforcement personnel
And,
who were?
I mean,
who
and I think
infiltrated
we need to
the
make a
crowd?
point on the show of saying, like, none of us here condone that kind of bullshit. We don't condone tearing down national monuments and despoiling our cultural heritage or attacking Congress when it's in session. That's bullshit. Like, we don't want to live in a world that's like that. We all want to have real lives, and we all want to focus
Do you
on
see what,
building, not destroying.
Did you see the statue that they
But-
that replaced the Robert E. Lee statue?
We can't lie about it.
Did you see that?
No.
There's some freaking. It was bizarre. It's just, somebody look it up. It was.
Ever since that MLK statue went up, I don't look at statues anymore.
This one would be. I mean, so it's like some demonic freaking monkey
Oh.
bird.
Are you talking about the
with
Baphomet from
big butt.
the Satan organization, the Satanists?
No, it's just something that
No, that was
literally
funny.
replaced some
It's
just
more
some
subtle.
artists.
I know what you're talking about.
It's probably
more
some.
subtle.
It's probably similar source of inspiration, but it definitely was something that is like some demon. Like I say, a demonic monkey bird with a bunch of phallic symbols, and it's just freaking bizarre. Oh,
Yeah.
like it's still
Cool.
Robert E. Lee. Let's put that up there.
Bring it
I
on.
love that. I love that idea. We should have a whole show where we just talk about monuments that are up now and what they used to be and what they are now.
Oh wait, yeah, I know what you're talking about
Yeah.
now. That, by the way, the hands that look like a big turd on the street. So
Oh yeah, that's another fun
That's
one.
the MLK one.
Yeah, that's a fun one that came up recently.
Yeah.
I always love looking at ones of like famous people, like the awful ones that they have of like Michael Jordan and Rocky
That-
and stuff that are
The
up there.
Lucille
Just-
Ball one that looks like
half of them look like a
face.
smoke bomb planted on a GI Joe.
Exactly. So if you want to hear us talk about awful national monuments that are out there, or just just awful artwork in general, go to the World Blockchain Roundtable and vote and like suggest that topic and vote for it, and we will.
Yep.
Talk
That's
about
why.
it
That's
in
why, Greg.
detail.
It's not funny ever to bring up. I was like, look, we don't support tearing down national monuments. That's what this the whole leads to. Now we're being made fun of because because you said
Yeah.
it's like
National
I was just trying to bring up. It's
monuments
like we're it's entirely turned on national monuments as long as they're Confederate.
is a subjective term. I think you can get the sense we mean them.
Yeah. So what's going on with the John Deaton one here?
Oh yeah, I was going to say that's related, but different.
Yep.
John's an attorney. He's representing some people who hold XRP, is where a lot of people know him from, but he's actually highly involved in many other things, and it looks like he's asking for information from anybody who has been sued by the SEC or anybody who has had a complaint that they violate Section 5 of the Securities Act, the 1930s era rule that's being applied to software today. So yeah, I think that's a good one just to highlight, to say like, hey, if you know somebody or you are somebody who's caught up in this or has issues with this, John wants to hear from you, and he's got his email address there. So I think we should all send whatever data we have to him so it can help him in his efforts to save the fucking world. So yeah, that's my opinion. That's what he's doing. He's part of that effort.
Yep. And who knows? Maybe he has something going on in the background, right?
I hope so.
He's doing some good stuff. So
yeah,
I think the SEC deserves a class action lawsuit.
Well, I think Hester Pierce might turn sides on.
You think we should take a bet on that?
I'll bet on that.
She's already doing an interview on Bankless. That's going up today.
I don't know, and I don't follow very closely, but the language that I've seen her use suggests to me that maybe that's the case. That maybe she's got. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
The SEC,
but I'll bet for it.
Functionally, right in the same bed chamber as all the folks at the Federal Reserve, right? Like they're both revolving doors to the biggest Wall Street banks, and these folks all really sort of depend.
Not just the banks,
right? These folks all really depend on an intermediated future where, like, because really what they don't want to do is they don't want to have to write a new law to go after actual crime, because they like the Bank Secrecy Act. They'd rather sit on their butts and just flag everybody and slowly investigate them all while they build AI to catch anybody who actually crosses the line. Right now, they're just swooping everybody in. But these folks really, really, really don't like the idea of permissionless anything being out there. They like having the gatekeeper power.
Well,
right?
they want to pretend like everything fits into Wall Street rules. They don't want to, if it came under different circumstances, the gaming industry would right now be absolutely there's one of the kickers. We're not the gaming industry largely funded by VCs with kickbacks funneling straight through under tables at the SEC. The gaming industry would be the exact same situation that we are in. Well, so our biggest mistake was not just going full on VC and trying to do anything decentralized.
Right. Well, if you're watching this and you think like, oh, this is just a crypto problem, no. Anybody who uses computers and the internet, it's going to be your problem, because the SEC in March 2022 proposed rules that they should also regulate cybersecurity risk management practices, so that they get to stick a fist and a registration requirement and an auditor's eye into your business and make sure that you're doing cybersecurity the way that they prefer.
Big government's never works. So it's just,
and that's every business.
So yeah, if you happen to use the internet or computers of any kind,
if you trade Pokemon cards,
if you invest in Legos or just sell things later or barter, anything like that, this has to do with you.
Yep, exactly. That guitar you're learning to play now, if you ever plan to sell it at a pawn shop someday, security.
Yeah, regardless of the reason you bought it or how much utility you've gotten out of it, regardless of how much of it you've consumed and you want to sell the rest that you're not using.
Could have bought one of those guitars in order to sell it for more money. It is a security, right? Yeah. So
if you happen to buy a large pizza at a party, you only eat a half of it and you sell off the rest because you're not hungry anymore.
Holy
security.
Shit. Yeah, Section 5.
Oh, exactly. This is and it's asinine, right? It's silly. It's really silly because when you take it to the absurd point, it ends up yielding all this shit. Like, it's crazy. This guy is nannerpants.
Yes.
And I love whoever edited that image of him because
That was me.
oh, that's brilliant.
Oh shoot, they're gonna come after you now, Dave.
He looks like a carp or like Dory from fucking Finding Nemo. If Dory got scared ghost white.
Yeah, I used the guy holding the microphone was actually Jeff Foxworthy, and then I put Gensler's head on top of that. Yeah,
I was gonna say this is like this is the future. This is the future of stand-up right here that you're seeing. It's great. So speaking of, if you buy a pizza and you try to sell off a slice, I say we move into today's topic. Unless there's any final thoughts on what we're going on there.
Well, just be careful of your use of blockchain for consumable items like food, because if you do resell it, it might be a security.
Yeah, is there a resale market for a secondary market for food?
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah. In like New York and stuff, in like bigger cities, they take like bruised or like misshapen food, and they'll package it and sell it later. Like, it's still good, it's just not pretty, so it doesn't hit the stores. But also, you can get food from restaurants at the end of the day when like they're closed but they still have food left over. You can buy that at like a discounted rate. So people will go through and package that. So they'll buy that, package it, and then sell it later.
And then sell it.
Yeah. So resale market for food right there.
Oh yeah.
What about hard to get dinner reservations? Is there a secondary market for people that have? Yeah.
Oh yeah. We were going to like Napa, and I wanted to go to like French Laundry and all these restaurants, and it's like, you can have a reservation. It's $300, and you can't get reservations unless you get the reservation the second it goes live. That, or somebody.
So you need like a PS5 bot to get one?
It's ridiculous. I try to make Valentine's Day reservations here in New York, and I was talking to Dave while I was doing this. The second the reservations went live, they were all gone.
That's insane.
The second they were already gone before they went live. I was like, why did you even do this then? This is crazy.
Yeah, why is this even here?
Yeah.
I've only ever seen that for like security conferences and stuff, where everyone buying tickets has a bot running to buy tickets.
Yeah. I feel like it was all pre-sale stuff that like before the public got it. So then it's like, what's the point of doing this?
You go on eBay and you just find like a stack of buzzers, like somebody's like 300 a piece.
Well, that could be an application for blockchain and tokenized reservations to restaurants. Man, you could have them on the open market.
Yeah, well, they ought to have a secondary market ongoing as soon as people bail, right?
It'd be better too, because the cancellations, people would actually have a reason to say, "Oh, we can't make it," instead of just not showing, because they could make some of the money back, whatever.
Yeah,
right. Ooh, that'd be great.
The restaurant itself could even have it where all secondary sales give them a cut. So if they're just really popular and people really need the reservation and they choose to just pay a premium on the secondary market, the restaurant gets a cut of that every time it changes hands.
And vice versa. If it's a slow night, you could get a reservation for a really exclusive seat, right? Because you could buy a chair and sit in like the coolest spot in the restaurant. They normally only book out.
If you modeled the restaurant after that, it would be super amazing, because then you could have people who get let's say a celebrity, but they get cuts from the people who sit around them, which are priced up, right?
Yeah,
crazy.
Or what if you could pay a price? This is my favorite one, and I know I need to answer questions about this, but
well, this is a good concept. I like this.
What if you paid a price for an NFT that included a recipe from a famous chef and an invitation to try it prepared by them and learn how to cook it?
Oh yeah, it'd be amazing.
I like Joe's idea from the ground up, building it with the intent from the very beginning. The whole business model being using that, using blockchain, using tokens, using decentralization. Because like you said, Joe, what if, or maybe it was Greg, you buy the chair or something, right? Yeah, what if you're the owner of a chair in the same way that you're the owner of a plot of land in the metaverse?
Right, or season tickets to a sporting event.
Oh yeah, whatever it could be. Yeah, it would be like one of the founders. That's their table. They have their chairs, and they're not there
to finance a restaurant like that by selling steaks and tables.
Wait a minute, I'm just joking. Yeah. No, that'd be amazing. That's the way you should finance it.
I just picture huge roundups around like stadiums and concert halls, and
Yeah.
all the scalpers sitting in the cell. You're like, what are you holding us on? Wait till the SEC gets here.
Yeah.
They bought those tickets, wanting to sell them for more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well-
like, so whoever held the seat, and then also the banks and Gensler has to get their cut as well from any secondary sales. Is that right?
And the funny thing is, that's actually
Yeah, I guess so.
that is actually a
That would be a
ticket.
regulation.
A ticket is a great example of a kind of instrument that can be an investment that is not defined as a security until you get to Gensler's bizarro clown world.
Well, if you look at it, it is an investment. It's not. It could be like it could. All the things
Right.
you've been talking about could be, but this is and has been forever an actual area where people, go out and buy the tickets and then scalp them and sell them for more.
Right. Well,
It's
but
the whole industry, and that's not a security and never
No, but
had
the-
been
the-
looked at.
Exactly, because the thing already exists. You're going to go to a show. You show up and the ticket is fucking to a dark room with nothing in it. You're going to know. Like the point of the SEC was always to stop people from promising you they were going to build something, taking your money, giving you a piece of paper that says you get a piece of what we build, and then not building it. Like that was always the point. And I think they sort of forgotten their purpose.
That was
in
the
a way.
point in the 30s behind
Well,
it.
that was
yeah.
and exactly
Supposed to be.
because that was what they were trying to defend it, even though one might argue that what really happened was a little different, or that maybe society has gotten smarter and that the internet generation doesn't need to be protected like they're a bunch of hayseed snuffing rubes sitting out there getting fleeced by the carpetbaggers. Like, we're not living in a fucking 1930s classic American novel anymore. It's just not the world. People are smarter. People are more savvy.
Maybe that's what's really dangerous.
Anyway,
Those
let's go-
hayseeds and idiots are the ones that let the central banks back in.
exactly.
After,
Like we have
after
to,
we kick them out.
they have to stop us from eating dirt and Vagisil.
I love how we created our own topic and jumped right
We should
into
go to restaurants.
right into restaurants with reservations, which was not something I had on my agenda. So I'm glad that it came up. And yeah, so this week we're going to be talking about restaurants and cryptocurrency. And I feel like we're going to have a tendency to be like, we can do all this, but it's technically like reselling something later. So I want to try to stay a little positive with stuff because I thought the reservation idea was so cool. Like, and then you could actually have a real market and price point for the reservation and for how much people value your restaurant.
Yeah,
As opposed to like
absolutely.
Michelin says this or Open Seat or Resi or whatever is saying this is the new hot restaurant. No, it's the new hot restaurant because it's $400 to get a reservation. Like,
Right.
you can actually quantify that. And then what would be nice is you can make it like it's lot or whatever else, where the restaurant gets a kickback of the percentage and therefore their food is cheaper.
Yes.
So maybe it's not $1,000 to eat there, it's $500 to eat there.
And if you were owning the restaurant too, the fact that you could even put a competition around getting the reservation and the cost of the reservation or the cost of the meal or whatever, based upon your loyalty. How often do you come here? How often do you promote us? That you could even also plug in the fact that it could be a machine for self-promotion because these people are going to be giving reviews, which will also lead to better quality control. Was this meal better than last time? Was all the rest of the crap that you could do, and you would have a direct incentive in line. The more you do these things, the more likely you'll get that reservation on Valentine's Day.
Hey,
I was thinking
and if
more
you're-
along lines
if
with
you own
the
a
promotion
table, you
that
could-
if you own the restaurant, you started the restaurant, you need promotion. You could actually give the promoter the reservations.
Right.
Say, hey, you promote this for me for free, and you sell the reservations.
Well, and here's an interesting concept.
It's a reward system.
Who else needs promotion? Up and coming chefs, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they be the sort of ideal table owners if they bought like an NFT property in the table, such that maybe you make it so at your restaurant, if you're a table token holder, that you can propose recipe NFTs and menu NFTs and drink order NFTs, such that the table owners get a say in how the restaurant actually plays out.
Interesting. That
When
sounds-
Ramsey heard you say that, his head would explode.
Like the round table. And he just
I
hey,
I
he's
want
like
to add
everybody.
one more thing to that.
Go
And
ahead.
I know we got to get to questions. I want to add one more thing to that from what Greg just said, because I hadn't thought of the actual recipe, the menu item being tokenized, because then somebody who invests in that recipe, right, who buys that recipe, can then get a cut of every time somebody goes in the restaurant and orders that dish or
Dude.
something like that. It just
there are
How much would the
chefs-
Colonel's fucking secret spices NFT be worth?
it just goes on and on. You just keep finding stuff to apply it to.
I will say there are chefs right now turning over in their graves, hearing us
Yeah.
commoditize their fucking recipe.
Yeah.
Like there's no oh man, if that ever, I'm not gonna lie, if that ever happens, like I feel like at that point, and we're gonna get to this later, at what point do we get rid of the creativity and art aspect of what they're doing? But let's get into questions. Let's get into questions. I love this topic. Way to kick it off. Our first question is, I also have notes here. That's what I was looking at too. I want to go to the first one from I Am For I Am, if I can do it out of order. It's a little bit farther down.
I think that's against the rules.
It's against the rules?
Is it against the
Yeah.
rules?
So
Well,
yeah,
I-
because
my-
if you don't get through all of them, whoever
We're
gets
gonna,
on gets
get
credit.
through, we're gonna get through all of them. Though.
Right, but the order. Oh yeah, because it's top.
You think we're gonna
ranked.
get through all of them,
top
John?
ranked? You're right.
It's
Hey, I'm
it's
the
already
host
46
today. We're
minutes
getting
in.
through all
We
of
just
them.
started.
We're getting through all of them.
We'll
whether you
get
like
through
it or
all of them
not.
as long as we're pithy.
Yeah.
All right.
let's
It
get down to
remains
the
to be
We'll
seen.
do my best to be pithy.
Just because this was like, I want to go from like a more like general topic down to more like specific ones. So this is from I Am For I Am. He's talking about point of sale systems that comes to mind. Many of us enjoy eating out to grow adoption. We need more restaurants to accept crypto or incentives to accept cryptos, and more people to start using and spending crypto at restaurants. How can we grow both restaurants and new crypto users to grow this ecosystem as a parallel to, is that fiat? Yeah, fiat and the unfortunate implementations of CBDCs. I believe that we need more parallel systems in place to combat CBDCs. What say you?
Ooh, that's a good one, man. That's a really good one.
Yeah, so how do we use crypto to buy food and incentivize restaurants
Well,
to actually use your token?
I got an idea.
Yeah.
Right now we have centralized services called DoorDash and Uber Eats and Postmates, right? And the company takes a cut and they listen to whoever tells them they don't like the way that they started running. So they make the service a little worse over time to service the restaurants and the regulators. And they do things like fuck around with the pricing. So you're not paying menu pricing or don't offer every menu item, right? It kind of sucks. And then, for the courtesy of being, or for the privilege of being a delivery driver, you got to pay a chunk of what you could have made, to this service. And all they're doing is sit in the middle so that people can order. Like, what if we had a decentralized delivery service that you could literally just become a delivery driver permissionlessly, and the service, the smart contract service, matched you with diners who wanted to eat and restaurants who wanted to sell, and you could actually sort of just take cryptocurrency and go buy the food, pretending like you're the regular carryout customer without ever letting on that you're with a delivery service, right? All of that stuff could happen if there was no way to point guns at them and say you have to identify yourself to the restaurant so we can write rules that slow down this business.
Something similar to what you just described, I found like a month or two ago. It's the people, the community around Monero have been developing a bunch of different like parallel systems that can make it easier to use the cryptocurrency
Do they do DACA
directly.
streamers yet?
And so there's one called Anon Shop, this one, yeah. And it's interesting where it's a workaround for not being able to directly use your currency at any place you want to use it. And it's a way to not have to sell it to be able to use it at the same time. And what they do is similar to what you were saying, is somebody signs up as a shopper, right? And your goal might be, hey, I want to buy Monero. for example, right? But I don't know where to buy it. I can't go through a centralized exchange, or because like they're not allowing withdrawals because they're trading paper Monero or whatever.
Or I just don't want to because I don't want someone to be able to find me.
So what you can do is you can sign up as a shopper, and people who want to spend their Monero can buy an item on Amazon through you. So you do the shopping for them. You spend your money. They give you Monero to pay you for getting it for them. And then the shipping goes to one of those, you know how Amazon has the lock boxes at Whole Foods and stuff like that?
Right.
They ship it to one of those and send you the access key to go pick it up.
Oh, that's
so it's a way for you. Yeah, it's a way to get around that system, use it directly and interface with a market that doesn't know it's accepting that currency.
I love that, man. That's brilliant.
That's great. And that's something that's happening right now. You know, that you can just easily, we don't have to create a whole new system to do something that's like happening right now. Joe, what do you think? What's the way that
the whole thing? I would say, first of all, like say, it's an odd thing. This is the type of thing that, you know, we would have thought early days of Bitcoin. You know, this let's just do something where the crypto will be accepted, so I could go spend it anywhere. And adoption never came. And in fact, when it did even partially look like it could possibly come, then all of the crypto people said, we don't want to use it for that. It's supposed to be digital gold now, not cash. So we don't want to see that. And you end up with, and you know, we've talked to industry people who were interested at a tech level before that came into it, did a proof of concept, and were lambasted by the very fucking community that should be pushing.
Well, they were always really pissy about there's an undercurrent, I think, of people who are afraid of bringing in the money transmitter regulators, right? Like they did not want the folks who regulate Western Union coming after them because they could have been
decentralized. Who the fuck cares? They wanted the number to go up. They wanted the banks to buy into it. They wanted they wanted what we've seen over the past year to happen. Yeah. Without it knowing, it's like, FTX is going to fail because of it. It's like, obviously, if you throw freaking those types of people into crypto, you're going to have SBF, FTX, Celsius, all that bullshit happen. Right?
It's like saying, man, we have all of this tech that we built to get away from fraud and, shadiness. What if we now brought fraud and shadiness to it?
Right.
You know, let's bring the same people back.
I'm saying, let's hear
what Sean has to say.
Did we talk about this already?
I wasn't finished, but okay. I wasn't.
True.
Maybe I could, whatever.
Sorry, what was that? Oh, okay.
I didn't finish. I didn't fucking finish. Jesus
Joe.
Christ. The point is, it's a non-starter. What I am for, I don't think, what restaurant gives a shit to accept Bitcoin? How many thousands of dollars are they going to get in Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Monero payments? None of them give a shit. They want to pay their bills. They don't care about that. The fact that dollars suck has not been overtaken by crypto because crypto is so full of bullshit.
In fairness, I pay my barber directly in ETH.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Greg. Who else does? Does anybody else pay their barber?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a non-starter. The barber doesn't make a significant portion of his money from your ETH. He might accept it because it's smart, and
Well, I mean, and he's
kudos,
awesome,
but it's still not a thing that makes sense. It's like, let's start a restaurant that is going to accept crypto. It's like
people are starting to see, though, maybe like after sort of lockdown stuff happened, and after all that's going on with banks right now, do you think people are starting to recognize that if we had an alternative that didn't have these people screwing it up in it, it'd be better?
Very smart people are, but they still, nobody is centering their world around, I'm going to shift everything to crypto and I'm going to pay all my bills, and that's not happening, and it's not going to happen, right? Here's the other thing: the idea about the decentralized Uber Eats, right? The delivery that's been around since 2016 or before.
Right. Throughput's the problem.
Why, given the fact that you could literally do it, because it was like, I'm going to set this up and it's decentralized and you literally have to sign up here and you do this.
Throughput's the problem still.
It's never happened. I mean, it's like it hasn't happened because there's no driver to it, because the people who are actually earning the money for the delivery don't want the Bitcoin because they can't convert it enough, and the banks have seen to it that it's even harder than it could have been. So it's kind of pointless, right? So until And I will tell you, I would relate it. The best analogy is if anybody has ever done a dual boot system, when you're deciding, hey, and this is just for nerds, right?
Yeah,
But I'm going to
absolutely.
switch over to Linux. Literally, the only way to switch over to Linux is cold turkey. You cannot do a dual boot because you'll keep booting into Windows because that's what you're used to. You have to freaking say, all right, I'm going to cut it because I'm so pissed off. Bill Gates, I'm not going to have Windows anymore. It's the same thing with crypto. I think until people decide, okay, we can't do this anymore. I'm not going to use dollars at all, and I'm not going to do business with anybody who wants to pay me in dollars. That's how it would work. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry,
is
John,
that true though? I mean, really, it may be true now. It may be true now, but we have the capacity to do the same exact things that the people who run narratives right now do. With an appropriate spend, an appropriate target, one could organize a proper campaign to do something like this, right? You could get the word out. You could give people.
It's not about that, though.
Somehow we got guys in yellow
teach
pants
the
tearing up $100 bills is what we've gotten from the crowd that
Well,
should have been
okay,
doing
a
it.
better example would be dockless scooters. That would be way more viable. You could get people who just wanted to make more crypto buying scooters with their Bitcoin.
Well,
and
I do have a solution to this. And it's not a solution, a use, something that fits this use case, that we had an event system that essentially solves a lot of I won't go into it, solves a lot of the problem with events. That one of the features of the event system was it didn't do like when you had a conference, you wouldn't come in and get lunch. Literally, you get points. And all of the local sandwich shops, would sign in, yes, we'll accept the points. And then they could come back and cash in right there, cash out the points that they get. Yeah. But that would be a beautiful way to handle. It's pure crypto all the way out, and it's actually going to affect these outside businesses. And then they realize, oh, I don't mind accepting that. I got a ton of business from it, right? And they know they can cash out and still pay their bills. So,
yeah. Well, I also do think that to a certain degree, society could get behind this if they wanted to, right?
So
I
think we all hope that at some point society is going to start using cryptocurrency. We're going to get away from the US dollar, right? But until then, we probably got to focus in other ways on getting people used to using crypto.
Yeah, you said society could, but society more recently than before, they don't do things unless they have to now. That's different.
I think that something that's being missed a little bit is that getting people to use crypto and getting people used to spending crypto as money and using it as money. I don't think that's the problem necessarily with this point of sale concept. The problem is what I've run into talking to friends who have local businesses in town and stuff, where I say, hey, if you ever have any questions about this stuff, let me know. Like, if you're interested in accepting it, it would be awesome if you could accept this from our community. It's always been cool. How do I use that to pay my electric bill? How do I use that to as an income for my business in a way that is part of the churn to sustaining a business and things like that? And that's where the friction, like if more places could more easily accept it and pay the local utility bill with it, if people could do things like that, they would be more willing to accept it. And if that happened, then you would have more places that accepted it, which would then put it in people's peripheral, like the little thing at the register that says Visa accepted or American Express accepted, to where people might be like, oh, okay, I know a place where I can use this. I think it's the other way around is how you have to approach it. Not getting people to want to spend it more, but getting people that would be accepting it from the spenders to be able to use it directly or to be able to use it in their business model more.
I think really people need to understand just understand it more, which far less people do than we think do. It still surprises me that there's people who've never heard of Bitcoin. I understand you never heard of crypto, some people, but no. Most people, I'm going to say, don't understand it. But people like my friends in crypto don't see it as money. I mean, I've been living off just crypto for years. To me, that's my money. That's my wealth, And I've had friends of mine be like, "Oh, I don't have any money at all." Like, what are you talking about? I got a lot of crypto. Like, the mindset, even in those people, it needs to shift to where it's. I mean, if you had some weird pink and orange and purple money from some small, it's still money to you. You know, there's still a conversion. It's still, you still would see it as money.
Right.
It's just a weird the way of thinking has to change, and people need to understand the technology. They need to see it as money.
Right. And then we also do, like, I think to Joe's point, need to make sure that people don't have to drive to the airport to change their euro back into something before they can spend it. Right. Like,
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
we need to tackle both. And I think that we're so early in this that I'm not ready to give up the idea that it can be money, or that it would be better money.
Great. So we gotta. I feel like I definitely started us out with the hardest question of let's just get people to accept cryptocurrency as money is the biggest problem we have with point of sale. So let's go to the next question on our thread, and this one's from Juicy J that I want to go through. There it is, and I promise we're gonna get through all of them. So this one is from Juicy J. Topic: a record of hired services for the restaurant. Being in the home improvement / construction business, he met a contractor that's involved with pest / rodent extermination. And he warned me of his top 10 restaurants to avoid going to. And I was in a complete shock to hear that that 5 of those restaurants I've eaten there in the past 3 months, filled with roaches and mice. 3 of these restaurants appear high end, and you must dress accordingly. At the beginning of COVID, cleaning companies were fogging and spraying disinfectant chemicals and would fumigate the whole commercial space. They would put on monkey suits and exclusive masks to avoid interacting with these chemicals. Do restaurants really clean all silverware or countertops after these chemicals were sprayed on before opening to the public? A blockchain for restaurants to see companies and services that have been involved in the past and current. I think, what do we think about that? The idea of using cryptocurrency as or blockchain, at least, for us to be for accountability and transparency with our services and what we're doing.
There's already that in place. When you look at like OSHA and there's signs, this was last sanitized at this month this year.
Mm-hmm.
But what this is talking about is, it's not really talking about it. It's just replacing the sign, man. As far as I'm concerned, I would say it's making something trustless, but you still have to trust the information that's put on the chain, which is just like trusting the information that's written on the sign.
I think this would be really cool, actually, myself. What if you, instead of regulating the application for the license, regulated the establishment of a data pipeline to populate a dashboard that could notify everybody if they wanted to, or that services like DoorDash or whatever could plug into, and you could actually search by like the least amount of cockroaches in the food. Like those are things that we can't access right now because the regulatory process is apply to this license once every couple of years. We'll send an inspector.
Can't you find information like that, like on public health for your area?
You can, but you wouldn't be able to find it about what's happening today, right? Like you'd have to wait a while to get current information.
What's interesting to me, having worked for a company before that went inside of grocery stores, I used to drive around all of North Florida, and I went into every small town grocery store fixing their scales and stuff like that. There's a lot of what appears to be true versus what's really going on that you don't see unless you have some sort of like backroom access or inside knowledge and that kind of thing. I don't know. Like there's definitely, like Juicy J was saying, it is the case. I had the same experience with not restaurants, but grocery stores. There's some that I just will not shop at anymore. I didn't know that. I didn't know, like, by all accounts, health inspections, reports that are published, things like that seems fine. Right. But what's different is walking into the meat department in the back room and smelling old bad blood.
Yeah.
Like you just get, when you're in the industry and you work in it, You just
or you have
can
friends that work at
smell
a restaurant and they tell you, don't eat here."
unhealthiness and stuff like that.
Right.
You know,
And
and
the produce department has a sink in the back that's been clogged for 3 days. Or
yeah,
something,
stuff
right?
like that. Or like, oh, I know that this one particular meat department in this one particular town doesn't give a shit and they're gross. And the guy's like in there sick with like snot dripping out of his nose, packing your fucking ground beef. And I'm just not about it, you know? But some way to be able to bring that information to the surface so that there's accountability and there's transparency. You can maybe do that in a way that's, you know, you have to be able to trust the source. Like Sean said, how do you trust the source? There's got to, you know, if there was some way to not disclose who's reporting it because you don't want retaliation. These were customers of ours. So the company would basically just be like, we're just there to fix the scale. We're not going to say anything.
Right.
You know, we don't want to lose a customer.
But like, how much better would a grocery store that took the time to implement a detailed system? They're like, we're going to build sensors in so that when our employees actually do the thing they're supposed to do, it ticks a mark and goes on chain, and the people can see it on a live dashboard.
And that's the thing too. You might have a company that is actually wanting to do the right thing, but people on the ground, and it could be the people doing the work, it could be the middle level manager, it could be anywhere in that chain. They don't know what the hell's going on. Crypto can be used, restaurants, groceries, anything else, even media companies, as a really good way to communicate past all the bullshit. There's some stuff that Napoleon did that's very similar with the way that he set up communication so he could get the actual info from the field. And you could do that with crypto because it's essentially a prediction market. And so the people who are saying, you know what, this shit is not good at the lowest level, that they can essentially communicate that through with consequences, both good and bad, if they're honest or not, and without having the filtering of the middle level manager not wanting the higher ups to see that.
If this beef NFT flowed through your department on the day you were working and it poisoned a person, it's your fucking fault, right? If you weren't doing the right stuff. I mean, it's similar to like what the banks did to Caitlin Long's bank application for her bank, where Custodia, what's it called, I think, where she was trying to do a bank that was overcapitalized, where deposits were secured 107%, and the
I think it was 108, but yeah,
108, and the banking regulators refused it because they said you can't do that. You have to do fractional reserve.
You can't do it very good. You have to do it at least a little bit poorly.
Right, exactly.
The neat thing, I think you're just talking more about like supply chain blockchain stuff, which was
I just mean like restaurant
always
regulators
talk
are
about
the same.
Something funny I saw, speaking of what Dave said, is some things are true and some things are just you think are true. And then like Joe said, doing the right thing. So the most funniest videos of like a farmer's market, is a different country. But the guy would walk around the the tables, and if somebody was shopping and they're buying like tomatoes, he'd grab like 4 tomatoes, just hold them on his back, and they hand him the bag, and when he turns around to weigh it, just drops the tomatoes in the bag. And every person that bought any of the the vegetables or produce, he would just go over and palm a bunch of them, hold them behind his back, and pad their bag, and just kind of hustle those extra bucks, which was he got called out on it, which was what the video was. But I thought it was pretty funny. Not one person had a clue. They're just having a good time at the farmer's market.
There's a lot of stuff that happens. That's directly related to the restaurant accountability and transparency situation. Like vegetables get injected with heavy stuff, so they weigh more, and that people get more money. There's people whose job is to sit around with a syringe and inject water into vegetables.
All right, that's
or whatever else.
That's
I remember. I remember
yeah.
they feed concrete to cattle.
I don't know about that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's something that you have to. Even the restaurant buying that produce wouldn't know it though. You have to introduce some sort of custody mechanism that's tracked. That can be done with it could be blockchain. It could be something less decentralized, but those sort of systems, there's a need for them today already.
Right. And blockchain is important because it takes away the discretion of the intermediary about whether or not to be honest.
So, all right. I love this. So I like how we have like some people are like, it's not really gonna do much, and some are like, it could actually make a big difference.
I just want to know how big the chunks of concrete they're feeding those cows are. Like, I want to know how those cows chew that shit.
And if you want to know more
Anyway,
about what we think about chunks of concrete, go vote for that. Go add that as a suggestion to, next month's World Blockchain Roundtable topics. I want to move on to the next question. I think we go back to the top is what I wanted to do here from eternalmickey.eth. There it is. I told you we're going to get to all of them. Great topic. So good job, guys, on picking topics. Thank you. I appreciate, since I suggested it, good job to me. Explain how restaurants could add blockchain tech to add in a better loyalty system, avoid customer food allergies, save customers' favorite dishes with AI to help suggest new possible favorites, etc. Other examples to call out: incorporating lot devices to track restaurant environment, climate, lighting, noise levels, etc. Great.
I think you can do this now, and a lot of places do this. You just need an app. You don't really need blockchain. You could do, I think, neater things on it if you were to, like, for a loyalty program, you know, with a tier system that you could maybe even buy into. So that would be another, resource for income for the corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And then get special perks where you're able to, save, certain things that you order, that kind of thing, profiles. You could, I guess, have a fake or like a username, so you don't have to give out your information if it was like NFT based or through your account or email. I guess you could still do with an app without giving up your KYC to put in your allergies and that kind of stuff.
The thing to me, and that's a good point, Sean, like all those things are great. And I think that so much of what loyalty programs lack comes from the fact that the administrative costs of them are very high. Like, in order to run those, you either have to hire a business that administers a third-party loyalty program, or you have to set one up yourself and hire people to vet it, right? Because you got to make sure that people are actually the people who they say they are, and keep track of the points and make sure nobody's cheating, right? Like the McDonald's game thing, where like they did the whole Netflix series on the guy who rigged it in his own favor to make or it was HBO, wasn't it? To scam the shit out of people, and all of those boardwalks that everybody wanted to get were never going to get to you because this guy was taking them and cashed them in. Like, the administrative costs of it are insane, and that means the rewards are smaller, and that means people are less likely to commit to it, right? Like, what if you actually legit got a free meal for doing like what's buy one get one free all the time? I mean, the amount of cost that would go down and disappear from existing loyalty programs would be immense if you replace them with decentralized ones that didn't.
Yeah, but you see, therein lies the crux of the problem for the blockchain industry. That given that we are so enamored with this centralized projects, and I would say they're not that they themselves are centralized networks, but the fact that everything has to be on Ethereum. Or everything has to be Bitcoin. And by the way, Bitcoin can be the only one, right? That type of bullshit without scalability. It'd be one thing if Ethereum was scalable, if Bitcoin was scalable, but it isn't. And so the problem is when you bring up and when you bring it up to any of these industries, the first thing off the top of their head, and especially if they have some advisor or some analyst on the call, is, why do we need blockchain for this? I can fucking do this in a database. They'll say that every fucking time. Why?
Well, I mean, because the person you're calling is the person they'll fire if they implement it.
That's
well, but it won't be. There's still. Well, I don't. That is beside the point. The point is though that they don't understand that blockchain can be scalable, because anything they look to, if they read CoinDesk, if they read Cointelegraph, if they read the fucking New York Times, it's all only about. What is this freaking stupid doggy coin or this fucking food coin that I'm looking at?
Right.
Speculative bullshit that everybody sees. They mirror it directly to stupid shit in the past. I'm not touching it. That's the first thing they see. If they look into it at all, well, they're going to read that, it's not really scalable. I can how many transactions a minute? Holy shit. We have more transactions a minute than that, let alone all of these other restaurants.
That's definitely
And they therefore just say, well, why wouldn't I just put it in a database? I don't know
Yeah.
that
But
shit.
we wouldn't even be allowed to try to do half of these things if we let the people in charge stay in charge and just use fiat. So, like, I think there's a pretty good reason to push
even
people towards it.
even not even to that, just the database thing that Joe mentioned. Like I sat in Miami at a cafe with Crypto Curious, one of our early denizens, during Bitcoin week for like 3 fucking hours talking to this guy who was just arguing that everything that we were doing could be done in a standard regular database, and there's no reason to use
That's true. And pencil and paper could get rid of those, and we could go back to that, right?
Well, he was arguing that he just didn't understand that there was any value in proving things in an independently verifiable way, right?
It's weird.
And
weird that he doesn't see that that's already happening. It just costs a lot of money to pay people to do it.
You can do it cheaper. You can validate information cheaper and quicker, right? And probably more accurately.
Mm-hmm. Like way
on the question though that Eternal Mickey was asking, one place I just wanted to throw this out there where he was asking about AI that could predict maybe what other dish that you might like. You can do that in a database with a traditional system. I would say it would be cheaper, easier, and more private and secure if you did it with blockchain, right? Because then if you have your system, let's say we use the example from earlier where you designed your business from the ground up to use these systems. Well, you could then correlate data, right? In the same way you do in a database, you could then correlate data to say, oh, you bought this dish, or the last 3 times you came here, you had the same thing. Why don't you try this other dish that other people who have bought the dish that enjoyed your dish also liked, like Netflix recommendations or something, without needing to care about who it is, or without needing to like create an account to sign up and give them your phone number and your email address, for the system to just know, oh, this is you because you paid with your wallet, with your app, which happens to have a public key on it that is, it's anonymous, but it's you every time, right? So
this could be a whole show for me. I used to work for the biggest loyalty program in the world. It was for Best Buy, and it was massive, it was huge, and it was super expensive. And like Greg said, so much of it gets put to a third party. And I've noticed this with the new Karen mentality and the victimhood mindset that people have over the past 10 years or so, that corporations have moved so far away from, especially with online companies, where you have who was it? Bud's Gun Shop. I bought Lisa a shotgun. I bought like a bunch of guns for Christmas, and they were supposed to have 2 different stocks. One was this like cool tactical stock, and the other one was to make it like a sawed-off shotgun little handle stock. I didn't get the little handle; didn't come with any of them. And I look on the website, and they're $30 or $40 each. So I'm trying to call them. They won't. They just hang up. Like the phone says, "Oh, there's too many people." Click. Call back some other day for like 2 weeks.
That's insane.
Try to email them, and they're like, "Hey," and to find the phone number was very difficult. And then there's this loyalty program, and it's like $25 a year, but then you get discounts, you get this, but you get a dedicated phone number where someone will talk to you. And I was like, you know what, man, screw it. Literally taken care of in 5 minutes. I paid the money. I called the number. They're like, oh yeah, we got a problem with that supplier. They're not putting them in the boxes.
Holy shit!
Right out to you. And I was like,
VIP access is part of this program. That's what you're saying.
It's almost like these programs are kind of like another income source, but they cost a lot. And what I would notice is that people would make their purchase. They would call in, and they'd be like, "Hey, your manager was." It was like the next step. It's like the manager in Best Buy poked me in the face. I literally happened once. I was there. I had to take the call because one of my agents was like freaking out because this Best Buy manager like hit the guy, and we were the loyalty program, but he's like, I want $1 million, like I want a bunch of money. I get money from you. That's like in-store money. So I was like, this is weird, man. You should get a lawyer and sue them. You know, I was like, wait, I'm gonna give you $20. Like, oh, more like $500. I'm like, yeah, that's why you gotta go through something else, man. This is like
in the restaurant context. Imagine a restaurant that will let you cut the line, man. That would be a cool.
I think though with blockchains, what I wanted to say is talking about what you were talking about and what I was saying that it is so expensive to run this. If you initiated smart contracts where you're taking out a lot of that just busy work that humans have to do, to where everything's instantaneous. As far as, you know, when you go make so many purchases, you know, if you buy 3 drinks, your, you know, fourth one is automatically comped. That money gets put into your account and instantly, you know, while you're there, because it's real time. While you're ordering it, it's in the system. That kind of stuff could be.
You don't have to mention it; it just comes free.
Right? Yeah, it can be really revolutionary, and you don't have to ever ask for it. It's just automatic.
Yeah, that would be awesome and super cool. Like that's a slick idea. I like that.
Well, I will say that when it happens, it won't be a blockchain thing. It'll just be a thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is awesome! How are people doing it?"
I do believe that is the case.
I don't know.
Otherwise, it's going to be hype. It's like, oh, it's some coin. You have to get it, and that's going to be 30 days of that, and then it's going to be done.
Well, I've said that plenty of times too.
Man. I don't think it'll happen if they go with something traditional, because it'll cost.
Well, no, not traditional, but the nomenclature will be traditional.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What you call it is not going to be called.
Our biggest problem was the whole bullshit, and a lot of the people that were involved in the DeFi world with the YAM tokens and the fucking cum bucket stuff and whatever the hell else was out there. I mean, all that shit was stupid and was very
excited about TCP/IP and cookies 2.0, right? Like no one's gonna get jazzed for that.
All right.
Well, no one. It's like the people who are using the fucking internet got jazzed about it, not because about it. Oh, what's TCP? They didn't give a shit about any of that. They give a shit about what you could do with it, right? And instead, we were getting a bunch of Zoomers running. I was like, this is so funny. I made $1 million on
I can't wait for IPv6, right? Like, no, nobody's doing that.
All right. So this is exciting. I'd like to announce the World Blockchain Roundtable loyalty card that's going to be coming up. If you want to put that up on the screen there for me. Yeah, it's exciting. For $50 a month, you just send it to me and I'll make sure everybody else gets dispersed. For $50 a month, you can be part of the World Blockchain Roundtable loyalty card. You can send me private DMs to ask me questions, and I will give you bad answers to them. Or you can have somebody else's name on the question, and I'll ask it to them. Yep. So $50 a month, just directly to me. And yeah, you can join the World Blockchain Roundtable loyalty program.
Yep. I'll also accept those cards, by the way, for sleeping on my sofa.
It also goes with a free membership to my OnlyFans crypto.
I love that. I love this example because, like, a lot of things that the SEC is complaining about the blockchain and crypto community doing is literally a loyalty card with accountability. And you know what I mean? Like, there's no way that, like, what John just said is obviously comical, but a lot of people might get duped by somebody who's trying to give them a loyalty card with bullshit benefits.
Have you ever heard of Patreon?
Yeah. Right.
I'm not saying that's bullshit benefits by any means, by the way. I think you get a lot of benefits with Patreon. I think it's a much better way to run
loyalty card. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, hey, you want me to be able to do all this other shit that you like to consume my content? Well, let me keep doing it and give me $5 a month. And
I was just thinking of how many times I've reverted back to, like, when I'm talking to somebody in person and they get confused about something. But no, it's like Karma Cream. You go to the ice cream shop, you get a whole punch. It's a loyalty card. And it's just fancy.
That's the other side of it too. If let's say for a restaurant, the fact that if you had something like this, it could give you, as the user, it could give you several things. Like I'm putting $100 in because I know I'm going to spend at least $100 this month in that restaurant. So it goes towards the purchase. But what the restaurant gets is they get the money in, they get a more streamlined revenue flow, right? They know they're getting this in regular every month, and you get benefits of, you skip the line, you get first dibs on whatever,
Right.
the important days to reserve a dinner, that type of stuff.
Mhm.
Everybody would do it. It would be amazing, and you could plug it in that way.
Well, access to the things you love too, right? Like, because people are joining loyalty programs not at their least favorite restaurant, but like their favorite freaking restaurant.
Yeah.
So like, it should get you a chance to talk to the chef whenever you want, or to some degree, to be a part of the restaurant in a way that's more like a regular or even like a super regular, right?
Yeah.
So while we're talking about our favorite things, I want to go to the very last question we have, because I'm going to try to get us out of here on time. I believe this should be the very last. Yeah, there we go. Jacob Lanes. If you order, did Juicy J just put one in here? I didn't have that one on my list. Okay. No, we already did that one. If you order a blockchain burger at a restaurant, what would it look like? Would you get extra tokens on the side? And I just want to run down our list one person at a time. Starting with Dave. You want to go first since you're the first one on my screen?
Yeah.
What would your blockchain burger look like? And would you get extra tokens on the side?
I was gonna lean into like surrealism a little bit to describe this, but I think I'm gonna go literal. So my blockchain burger would come with supply chain validation for every fucking ingredient, what the temperature was for that product as it was shipped, from the producer to the restaurant. I would know everything about the burger. If I was suspect, I would be able to validate everything independently without trusting somebody that nope, this is a high quality burger, or that there wasn't like Walmart had issues with horse meat in their ground beef one time, and they didn't even know it because they didn't have a system that tracked it like that. So that would be my blockchain burger. It would just literally break down everything that could possibly be wrong with the supply of the food that's involved in the ingredients, and allow me some peace of mind in knowing that it was at least kept, properly before it was sold to me.
So Dave wants the most meticulously put together burger. Sounds very creative and entertaining.
Just a QR code.
Joe, what do you got for me?
I would probably make it. I don't know if I would do it just with a burger, but if you did it with a meal, but let's say with a burger, that it would be a chain. So either you would get some elements of the last burger that was created on your burger, or it would fully be dictated that you would hope that whoever orders next is going to get something you would like on there, right? It's an actual chain, right?
So Joe is going literal. You're going literal with the blockchain of the burger. All right,
interconnected.
Satoshi,
Yeah.
What do you got for me?
Did you say me?
Oh yeah.
Oh well, I would. I don't know a burger, but I would have the surf and proof of steak dish with actual blockchain fries, and for a bib, you'd have to have a giant picture of Craig Wright on it.
I love it. We're going pun with it. I love it. Greg, what do you got?
So here's how I would do it. I would first off with the tokens for the fries. Yes, they're fungible, and they're going to be a reward that you earn from the steak that you can put on your burger with the QR code burned onto the bottom bun. So you can flip it over, right, and you will be rewarded additional fry tokens, which you can exchange for more fries right then and there. So if you order more burgers, you get more fries. The sliders are especially convenient for that, right? Burn to the top bun, however, is the best one, because you scan that and you get an NFT with each of the ingredients on your order that when you pay through the DAP at the checkout, remembers your order from last time because it's in your wallet. So you go in there and you order it again and you get that burger. Now, best part is every burger you order adds to your loyalty points, just the way like ordering a whole bunch of Uber does, but like it's literally the number of burgers you eat. So you can literally eat your way into the VIP club to the top tier, which will be like platinum, where like you can literally come over to the guy who invented its house and hang out.
I love it. I love how that you've incorporated everything into the burger. You get loyalty stuff. There's NFTs. There's everything going into this one burger. It's a very complex.
And the cheese itself will be braided into a chain and wrapped on top and then melted, right? And the burger itself will be cut into cubes.
I like how none of this is about the quality of it, though. It's great. We're just taking the McDonald's.
That's the
burger.
only thing mine was about. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Nobody went with a stablecoin Big Mac.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Oh yeah,
They just keep
that's
getting
my
smaller,
dream.
though.
We'll talk about that on stable coins because that's what I want.
And I'm gonna share this one. I don't know if anybody. So you guys have been really into Twitter, and I feel like you missed. I like to read Resi and Open Table a lot and their articles. And there's actually a cryptocurrency accepting restaurant that opened.
Nice.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, it's called Long John Open Seavers. Critics say that the food is Ethereum. It's easy to pay system. You use the USDA coin, and if you don't finish your food, you can take it home in a doggy bag and eat it later. A doji bag and eat it later.
Love it.
Great. That's my
That was
entire
fantastic.
yeah, that's what I would do.
How do they do it without proof of stake, though?
I see. I wrote out a big ass list of different crypto coins and other terms, and that's all I came up with. So I missed the open stake right there. Pretty obvious. Great. So I think I can go to like 10 more minutes, right?
4
more minutes.
Yeah.
All right. I want to do this because
You can go as long as you want, though. Sorry.
I spent way too long making this morning. So I wanna at least do a little bit of it.
Oh, do it. You don't have to stop right on time, man.
Can you play the video for me? Oh, there's no sound, but that's fine. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Okay. Why
Can you
is
share it with me? Oh, great. More style.
yeah, more stuff. All right, we're gonna play one more time just so everybody can actually enjoy it. One more time.
Totally pizza versus bogus pizza.
Yeah.
I love it.
So now let's go ahead and pull up the slide. We're gonna play. We're gonna do the great pizza debate of 2023 with World Blockchain Roundtable, and we're gonna get through this as quickly as we can.
All right.
All we're gonna say is if it's totally pizza or if it's bogus pizza. That's it. If is it totally pizza or is it bogus pizza? That's it. We're gonna go down the line really quick. The first one, just normal pizza. Is normal pizza totally pizza or is it bogus?
It's totally pizza.
That's
Totally.
basil, right? Yeah, that's totally pizza.
Very angry at you.
Is
dude.
that basil? That's basil.
I'm very mad at you.
Is that New
is
York
totally
basil?
pizza.
I want pizza so bad now.
It's totally pizza because there's a pot leaf on it.
In case you were wondering why the doorbell rang,
That was a real doorbell from earlier. Gotcha.
okay, next one.
God, that looks good.
Square pizza. Is square pizza pizza?
I think a square pizza is better pizza. It's totally pizza.
I don't think the shape matters. It looks like there's chicken on it, though. What is that? Or is that just regardless?
No, those are mushrooms.
I don't know, man.
Mushrooms.
I just typed in square pizza and it popped up.
These are all drug pizza. The first one had a pot leaf on it. This one's got mushrooms on it. We don't know what kind.
Greg,
I'm sorry, but it's bogus. The only way to do square slices is to cut it on a round pizza.
okay. All right. Interesting. All right, next one.
Yeah.
Flatbread. Is flatbread pizza or is it bogus? Is it totally pizza or is it bogus pizza?
There's cilantro on that.
Yeah.
And all those
It's pizza. It's like a little pizza. A small, It's like a personal pan pizza. So, but then I don't know. It's flat, it's cooked differently.
You got to give me an answer, Dave.
It's pizza. It's totally pizza.
Totally pizza. Joe, is this pizza
That's,
or bogus?
it's bogus or close. So
Bogus. Okay.
Only in Italy.
Only,
Yep, that's what I was gonna say, man. It's
only
totally
in
pizza.
Italy
That is
it
a classic Italian pizza. That's what they really used to
Only
serve.
in Italy.
Oh, that's weird. I
If
didn't
you're in
know
Mexico, it's going to be something else.
that. All right. A calzone.
No, it's its own thing.
it's a calzone.
It's a pizza folded in half. It's totally pizza.
Eat it with a fork.
You know,
There's often not red sauce on it. Does that matter?
It's inside.
Usually.
Well,
Yeah, usually not. Usually it
white
should be
pizzas
red
and
sauce should be
there's-
outside. Yeah.
Greg, what do you think?
that is totally delicious, but still, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go with bogus pizza because you don't eat it communally. It's a single meal.
All right, I think Dave is the only one that thinks this is totally pizza, where it's just one pizza folded on itself. I feel like that's how you make a calzone at home. Is you just order Domino's and then you fold it.
Sure, me a slice of calzone, man.
Great. A hot pocket is a hot pocket pizza.
No, it's its own thing.
I draw the line at Pop Pockets. Crispy,
Okay.
crunchy, tender, flaky crust.
Okay, and I assume we all think that the ham and cheese hot pocket is definitely not pizza.
Same with
Right.
Strombolis. They're their own thing.
But pizza hot pocket has the word pizza in the name. Does that make a
God,
difference?
Pizza flavored
It's
hot
an
pockets.
adjective. Yeah.
Okay.
There may be some
Still a
pizza
pocket.
stuffed into the hot pocket, but it's still a hot pocket.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Bogus.
Somebody with
Bogus.
acne has a pizza face.
Hey, John, I have a question
eat
for you
them.
that might be related somewhat to this.
Great, that's what I love.
The Jerk, the movie The Jerk, one
Great
of the
movie.
classics of all time. Pizza in a cup versus cup of pizza. I've had a lot of conversations with people about this, that we should remake these restaurants and figure out which one's better. We had some theories around what they were.
I would
Anyway.
love a show. I would love to. I think if
You
I
guys
open a
are
restaurant,
ruining my day. I'm
Sure.
gonna kill my diet and eat fucking pizza and go watch The Jerk.
you're welcome.
The Jerk, that's worth it. That'll bless the day.
Next
Why
one.
does he keep shooting these cans? Why does he hate cans?
Is lasagna pizza? Is lasagna just a bunch of thin
As an
slices?
Italian
of
American, I'm beginning
stacked
to get
on
offended at
top
these
of each
questions.
This
I'll
is
tell you
not
right now.
pizza. It's pasta.
Similar to a
It's-
calzone being a pizza folded in
question-
half. This one's
I'm
stacked.
question-
just posing the question. There's no.
The question I would have about this is it pasta? Because it's so odd to me that it's like it's not like a noodle. It's this
It's
weird.
bone.
Gnocchi though. What about
Gnocchi.
gnocchi? Those are bready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either a
Definitely.
5-layer pizza or it's bogus. And I'm gonna go with bogus pizza.
Okay. All right. Next one. The Totino's Party Pack pizzas that you
Totally
get.
pizza.
Is that pizza?
Fuck
Is
yes.
that actually pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
that-
4 of them in there.
Yeah, that's pizza.
That's
This
the
had
most
4
American of
pizzas
all
inside.
pizzas.
They would have had a class action lawsuit by now in the United States if it said 4 pizzas inside.
That's I like that. Greg says that this is the most American pizza
Of
there
all
is.
pizzas, man.
As
Just-
the person who lives in New York City,
you
I'm
know,
going to agree with you.
I once started a business called Penguins Pizza that got shut down by the apartment complex I started it in. I had like a phone call in from Google Voice, and people could call me, and I had this goofy thing would just like tell them what to set their oven to, and so say leave your apartment number, and I would take a Totino's pizza out of my freezer. I'd go upstairs and they'd pay me. You get them like for 10, you get like 10 or 20 of them for like 50 cents a piece at Costco. And
You
people
bring
would
them a
pay-
frozen
people would
pizza
pay like
that-
$3 for it if they'd
That's
have to go
brilliant.
to the store.
That they themselves had to cook.
is
It's like, yep, go
brilliant.
ahead and preheat to this temp. I'll bring it right over.
It's also a good way to sell cigarettes without advertising it.
That's funny.
Pizza rolls or pizza rolls
Mm.
pizza.
They're their own thing.
Yeah, they're their
That's
own
the thing.
thing. That's a
Is a
bogus
pizza-
pizza.
Bonus question: is a pizza roll ravioli?
Yes.
No.
It's toasted ravioli, actually.
No,
right?
I was about to
I would
say.
expect.
I was about to say, is it a egg roll?
Huh?
Every Asian person that makes egg rolls makes pizza egg rolls, and they're
You know,
delicious.
I would say it's a gray area, but since it's by the masters of American pizza at Totino's, it's got to be pizza.
Okay, so anything Totino's makes is a pizza.
No,
Officially.
this ain't a pizza. It's not it's more of a ravioli than a pizza, but it's
Yeah.
neither.
I'm just
That's a
kidding. It's
ravioli.
definitely a ravioli.
I love it. It's just baked ravioli. All right,
You guys,
I-
I'm telling you, there's gonna be mobsters knocking at your door. Because I'm so offended. If anyone watches this, connected.
I'm just
you guys are
asking the
fucked.
question. I'm not.
I'm
I'm not
offended at that,
saying-
Sean. What do you mean? The mobsters are only Italian or something? What's
Yeah,
that?
they are, Joe. I'm saying that. I'll
Yeah, the
take
pizza
that
people.
stand as an Italian American, and I'll say
All
only
right,
true mafiosos are Italian.
I think this might be the last one. We'll see. I don't remember how many slides I made. Yep, last one. Mexican pizza from Taco Bell.
That's an
That's a
unflattering
thing?
photo.
You've never heard of Mexican pizza?
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up a couple times, like with the when we did the flatbread. I was like, that's Mexican.
Yeah, I heard you, and I wanted to save it for
It
this.
is. See,
That's like a quesadilla with like pizza ingredients on top.
It's
So,
actually a
something-
great thing that they did a great disservice to America by removing from their menu.
Yeah,
And
it
to
was-
Italian, Mexican Italians, right? You think about it, how many half Mexican, half Italian people were upset by this?
I love how the advertisement is just like somebody who looks like they're coming out of a late show, and that's all that's available, and they're just
Oh, I
Like,
thought
I
she
guess
was
I'm gonna eat
assembling it
this.
by pulling it out of her mouth.
No, this is I YouTubed it. She looks like she's taking it out of her mouth. No, this is bad. I'm just taking it out. No,
This is
I
the
think
part
this
of the
is
prep process. She's just making one.
I think this is a YouTube like thumbnail that I just stole off the internet for like somebody who's trying it for the first time. It's one of those like, how does this make you feel? Kind of thing.
I'm just
She
thinking about
pre-chews the
refried
pizza, man.
beans and rice
Just
on
probably
a pizza.
pizza
I don't
Hut.
know. That's bogus to me, man. That is not a pizza.
So it's not pizza.
Well, that's the thing, though. But is it like a country's iteration of what a pizza is? Like America, you can go to certain places and have like Czech food, but it's kind of mixed with American food. Tex-Mex. You know what I mean? It's a combination of two different things.
Yeah.
Tex-Mex
Is this
the worst.
Mexico's way of saying, thanks, Italy, we're going to give it a try with our own spin?
Okay,
What a
Is this
great idea.
Mexican?
I see what you're saying. It's not Mexican food. It's Taco Bell.
It's a
But
Mexican Italian fusion, is what it is.
but I see what you're saying. Yeah. Next
It's
time.
too many fancy words for Taco Bell, but I think that what's going on here is that woman is actually eating a pizza out of that box, putting it in her mouth and chewing it to make the filling for the Mexican pizza. So I'm gonna
All
say
right.
it's totally pizza because there's pizza on it.
So
All
then
right.
the last part of the question is food from Taco Bell food? But that's a different show. And if you want to just hear us talk about and discuss whether or not food from Taco Bell is food, you'll have to like ask for that as a topic for the next World Blockchain Roundtable.
Yep.
So our last slide. Here's what the definition of pizza is. Webster Dictionary defines it as a dish made typically of flattened bread dough spread with a savory mixture, usually including tomatoes and cheese, and often other toppings and baked. Also called a pizza pie.
Yeah.
So
You didn't bring up Stromboli, and you also didn't bring up the whole thing of dessert pizza.
Webster's is a propaganda
Or
outlet
breakfast
anyway.
pizza.
I'm
Or
gonna be
breakfast,
honest.
breakfast pizza is a new thing, but dessert pizzas have been around for quite a while.
Long time.
Apple, cherry.
I have a really long list of things that could be pizza. I could not fit them all into this show. So if we want me to make longer lists of things, I can do that. But I did not. I just try to cover like the top like
The-
quick ones that I could.
The toppings.
Definition is savory also.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah,
It's also a
Savory.
vegetable according to the FDA.
Oh, interesting. So Webster's disqualifies the dessert pizza.
Dessert
apparently.
pizza. Yeah, the number two.
Fuck
But it also
Webster's, it's
said
propaganda.
typically.
Yeah.
As soon
It
as they
does
say
say-
typically, I'm like, you have no moral high ground. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say typically or usually or yeah, whatever.
Well, that's been I forget what I called this. The Great Pizza Debate of 2023 with the World Blockchain Roundtable.
Nice.
Thank you so much for participating in it.
Well made, sir. Well made.
And that is going to take us out for today. We hit every single question on the thingamabobber, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, unless somebody added something last minute. Nope, we hit them all because I looked at it right before this. We hit every single question. We did it all. We solved restaurants for the future. So thank you so much for being here and watching and listening. If you have any other questions, go to the Layer World Blockchain Roundtable Layer on Den and put some more questions in there. Comment. Let us know what you think, and then don't forget to vote for the next topics for next month. And if you choose the Game Show 2.0, I would not be mad.
Remember to like this video and share it.
Yeah, like, subscribe, and share it everywhere that you can, especially grandparents. I'm really trying to cultivate that older generation, just grandparent generation. So if you got any grandparents, send them this. I'd love for them to see it. Cool.
Yep.
So I think. Thank you so
I'll
much.
send an NFT to one person randomly who happens to be one of you who shares this and tags it. Release the crypto Twitter files.
Thank you, because I wanted to put together a prize, but I did not. So there you go.
Yep.
If you do that, you'll get an awesome NFT from Greg.
Yep. A grandpa ape that's rarer than 50% of them at least. So.
Wow, look at that.
Speaking of grandparents.
All right, great. Thank you for being here, Dave, Joe, Sean, and Greg. Joined the World Blockchain Roundtable Layer. Did that. Next week's theme is fighting fraud in the cryptocurrency industry. I feel like that maybe we're gonna have a lot to talk about that for next week. So I'm excited. If you have questions you want our panel to answer, throw them in there, and I'll make sure I get through all of them like I say I do. Share this episode. The more you share, the more our hosts and topic contributors get. I'm going to give everybody like a really quick final thoughts, and then we're going to get out of here. All right. So like 20 seconds, 2 sentences. I'm just going to go straight down our order here. Dave, what do you got? Final thoughts.
Yeah. So last night and this morning, I published some updates on the leaderboards that we're working on with Den Social. If you don't have an account for Den Social, it's free. Go grab one. Check out the Den Layer. And there's some interesting metrics in there, leaderboards, competition stuff. And then at 3 p.m. today, Eastern time, so in 2 hours, we're hosting a DenDAO governance call. So that's open to the public and anybody can join that. See the DenDAO layer on Den Social.
All right, Joe, you caught me with food in my mouth.
No worries. I wonder if anybody has any ideas if we should think about shortening the period, because we're doing a month of shows that I wonder if we could do it, have a decision more often. And I don't know if there's any way we could do it. We're kind of doing it the way we are so that we could plan ahead, but we typically don't bring people on for specific shows usually. So anyway, it's just a good idea. Something for the show.
That'd be cool.
Sean, anything you'd like to plug or say and leave people with?
Follow me on my socials. Check out my YouTube channel. Greg and I did an interview. It was very interesting about some stuff that's going on internationally with this group that is trying to hold elites accountable and send them to, kill them and send them to prison. I did get the guy to say he wants to kill them. Execute them. Those guys, but the first half of the video interview is so big, is about what they're doing in Canada with Justice for Canada. Really interesting. Go check it out. And the other half will probably go up tonight or tomorrow.
Great. All right, Greg.
Cool.
Last words. Anything
All right. 2 sentences. The first sentence is #release the crypto Twitter files. Get that out there because otherwise they might continue to ignore us over there at Tybee & Co. Inc. We want those files. We want to know what the SEC and fucking all the other regulators have been doing to stop crypto secretly. Number 2, go on Wikipedia, look up stuff, or not Wikipedia, go on WikiLeaks, look up stuff. It's not illegal, and you'll help make sure that that stuff gets put to good use. There's a man in prison, has been for a long time, who needs us to use those because otherwise it will have been completely in vain.
Yep.
All right, and that's been us from World Blockchain Roundtable. Thank you for joining us, and go check out the layer and go comment and let us know what you want us to talk about on our next shows coming up. A week from today, join the DenDAO call later. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
The first tap of a conductor's wand. The first rivet in a mile-high tower. The master link at the genesis of a never-ending chain. The moment a single empty canvas meets a singular master stroke. There is no one thing. Because now there are many. Because soon there will be more. Because one is ever the beginning. Like the first link in an infinite chain, or the first rivet in the tallest skyscraper. The master stroke is found in the masterpiece. What will you begin?